How did Andrew Berry do? This was his first draft in charge. This was the first time he ran the draft room and had final call on these picks. So this is our first chance to kind of really judge how he did. Mary Kay, how did he do this weekend?
Well, I think it all starts with the first round pick, and he got exactly what he wanted. And so therefore, I think that you kind of have to give him an A, because if you come out of round one with your starting left tackle, and he just so happened to be the guy that you wanted, and you didn't have to go to plan B, and you didn't have to go to plan C or plan D. I mean, it could have gone, their top three guys could have been gone, and they really would have had to come up with a contingency plan at that point. I believe that they had three guys ranked where they would have said, we are taking that guy at number 10 if he's there. And if that didn't happen that way, who knows how this thing would have gone. So I think to come away with their Jedrick Wills was great. Again, Dan, your guy, the tight end, I think the fact that they got the tight end that they loved in that round, I think that was really good. They added a few other pieces. I think, Grant Delpit is kind of, he's sort of an exciting pick. I mean, he can come in here, he can change the game, ball hawking safety, a lot of things he can do for you. He's going to have to work on his tackling. I mean, he's just going to have to work on that. That is not going to be his forte. So you're going to have to find roles for him. That's one area where I think that I had told you guys this before. I would have liked to have seen a premium pick, at least heading into the draft. I was still in premium pick mode at number 41, which to me would be like a pass rusher, and AJ Epineza was still there at that time. So I will be watching over the next couple of years to see how that shakes out. But I do think that, that Grant can come in here and probably start for you, and you're just going to have to scheme around him because, he's going to whiff sometimes when he has to make a tackle.
Yeah. If we're doing the whole grading thing, I'm totally fine with the B+ A- range for Andrew Berry for two reasons. One that was in his control and one that isn't, but that's the name of the game in the draft. First, and he addressed this in his presser yesterday, he safeguarded himself with the way the Browns conducted themselves in free agency. You address that need at tight end, you address that need at tackle, and to make that decision to go out and spend that type of money, top dollar, naturally your needs in the draft become less daunting. So, if the Browns don't have that tight end and they need a left tackle and a right tackle going into the draft, we're having a very different conversation. So the way he did, to steal his words, marry the free agency with the draft, I think lowered the expectations and the urgency in this draft. But then for the draft specifically, what wasn't in his control was how it fell. And we've already talked at length about how Jedrick Wills falls to them at 10, how the tackle run we thought was going to start at 4 and then just didn't. And then Mary Kay, as you just said, with Grant Delpit, him falling where he did, they even traded back and still got their guy in the second round, a guy who PFF has rated as their number 1 safety and could very well be the best safety in this class after 2, 3, 4 years. So for those two reasons, the way he protected himself in free agency and then just the way the draft shakes out, even someone like Jordan Elliott falling, early in the draft, those things worked out for him. And Mary Kay, as you said, if you're finding your winners in rounds 1, 2, and 3, I don't think those rounds could have shook out any better for Andrew Berry in his first draft.
The only arguments I would make about this draft are, I don't know that you necessarily needed to take a backup center. Nick Harris probably has a chance to be a good one, and they raved about the scheme fit. I don't know if you needed to necessarily pick a center there, though. And then, you trade down from 174 to 188. That's, 14 picks. There's a little bit of risk there. And you did pass on a pretty good linebacker that the Saints took. So we'll kind of watch how Jordan Elliott and Zach Bond, kind of how their careers sort of develop. We'll see if that was the right move there. But neither of those are deal breakers for me. I don't look at those and say, boy, that ruined the draft. This wasn't passing on Deshaun Watson, to move down to pick number 25 and get a pick next year. There were no trades like that. They got the guys they wanted. And so, that third day, you're kind of just throwing darts. And I thought, we already talked about Harrison Bryant. We all talked about Donovan Peoples-Jones. Mary Kay, you and I had him as the most intriguing. Jordan Elliott, LSU had him as your most intriguing. So obviously, you can make arguments for all of these guys. So I think it's hard to give this draft anything less than, I think B+ would be the bottom end. And, I've seen some people give it an A+, but definitely it's a B+ or an A for sure for Andrew Berry in the first draft.